What's going on, everybody? It is NBA schedule season. The schedule will be released within the next 10 days here on August 15th, so it'll be out sometime before the 25th. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see the Christmas Day schedule. I'm pumped to see just the national TV schedule, to see like what I'm going to be watching on some winter nights, you know what I'm saying? The Martin Luther King schedule, that's always pretty interesting, but definitely nothing even close to Christmas Day. I know opening night, that's probably the second most exciting thing on the schedule. But Christmas Day, the best. 5 games, as always. I'm going to predict the schedule. Am I predicting? I'm going to say what I believe is the best schedule. That's what I'm going to do. And you could 100% comment below your thoughts, what you would change. I will reply to you guys, though. And there is a lot that you got to go into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be a fully West Coast team if you're going to be home in the 10:30 game. You've got to be fully East Coast team, Eastern time zone, if you're going to be home in the 12 o'clock game. Stuff like that. I'm going to tell you guys the 5 matchups. I'm going to say, like, who's home and stuff. And just talk about why I think it's better and kind of explain why I did that as opposed to some other things I could have done. This year, the schedule is probably harder than last year to make. I made this video last year, and I was partially right on some of it, not all of it, but it just didn't feel that complex to make. This year, there's a bunch of different ways they could go, so I'll talk about some of the different ways afterwards, but let's get into what I do have. Starting the day at 12 o'clock noon at the MSG, Bulls at the Knicks. Wow. So it's a big-time question if the Chicago Bulls, with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and Nikola Vucevic, will get on Christmas Day or not. The Knicks will definitely get on Christmas Day, and I could be quite confident that they'll be home on Christmas Day. Even when they were trash for most of those years, they were hosting that 12 o'clock game because Christmas Day basketball in New York City is something that the basketball makers love. And that's a tradition that they stopped in 2019. They had enough of weakening the Christmas Day schedule because of the Knicks being so poor. But now the Knicks are actually very much Christmas Day worthy again, and they will probably be home. And I'd say most likely in the 12 p.m. game. Next up, we have the 2:30 game. I have the Golden State Warriors on the road visiting the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, wow. So I initially had Bulls at Sixers at 12, and then Warriors at Knicks at 2:30. But the reality of the situation is that the 76ers are still the clear better team than the New York Knicks. So, Warriors at Knicks in one of the ABC spots at 2:30 probably will make for better. Of course, we don't know what the Sixers are doing with Ben Simmons, and that's the thing. Like, even if the Sixers run it back, that's still a really good team and ABC worthy team on Christmas Day. The ABC games are the 3 biggest games. The 2:30 game, that could be 3 o'clock if the home team is on the West Coast in that second game. But yeah, the second, third, and fourth game of the day, ABC, those are like the biggest games. The 12 o'clock game and then the 10:30 game are on ESPN only. So yeah, Golden State, you know that they're going to put them in one of the day spots. They are not putting them in that 10:30 West Coast late game. They're not going to do that. Warriors, everybody wants to watch them, understandably so. In the 5 p.m. game, yikes, this is where it's definitely going to get tough. I'm going to have the Heat visiting the Bucks. So the Bucks obviously will get a home game, as do all defending champs. And I could be pretty confident. I mean, I guess it could be in the second game, but I have a feeling it'll be in the third game where the Bucks play at home, that 5 p.m. game. But the question is if it'll be Suns at Bucks or Heat at Bucks. I feel like the rest of the schedule works out a little better if it is Heat at Bucks. A rivalry from the last 2 playoffs. The Heat should be back to being good again. Like, they just had a down year. I think they're still very relevant, though. Maybe Victor Oladipo could be something for the Heat. They got PJ Tucker, and of course they traded for Kyle Lowry. So yeah, maybe they'll put that little rivalry on Christmas Day. In the primetime spot at 8 o'clock p.m., I don't think there's any shock what the matchup is. And the location can probably go either way. I'm going to put it at the Staples Center, the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers. So if the Clippers get home, which if the Clippers play, it'll easily be in the 10:30 game. If the Clippers get on, then that game, if the Clippers get on and be home, then that game will easily shift to Brooklyn, which there's not a major problem with that, like Lakers at the Nets. After all, the Lakers have had a sold-out Christmas game with LeBron James, the one against the Clippers in 2019. They did lose that game, but that was part of their championship season. They had a big Christmas game. They were also home on Christmas Day last year. Their defending title season at 8 o'clock as well. That was a win versus the Mavs, but with no fans. For the Nets, they have not had a home game on Christmas in the KD era. Their first game was last year. They were on the road. They killed Boston. So this game could very much be in Brooklyn. Yeah, we'll leave it in Los Angeles. I'm just really interested to see what happens, though. You already know these big threes are definitely facing off on Christmas Day primetime. There's really no doubt about it. Which is why the only options for the Bucks to play are really the, I guess, slight chance Sixers, but I would say it's between the Heat and the Suns for who the Bucks will play. In the 10:30 late game, we are going to Phoenix for one of the better 10:30 games we've ever seen if this does happen, with the Utah Jazz visiting the Phoenix Suns. The teams with the two best records in the NBA last season facing off in the Christmas Day late game. That would be tremendous. It's a bit tough to put the Suns in the late game, but I would not be able to put a team like the Chicago Bulls on the schedule if I moved the Suns into one of the earlier slots. So we got the Bulls on. That's an accomplishment. What are the biggest snubs? Well, the ones that easily come to mind are the Atlanta Hawks and the Dallas Mavericks. Those are the two teams that will not be on in my best schedule, because there will probably be like two snubs, because there's like probably 12 teams that you could really think of. Teams that were not guarantees that I did put on, that's the Bulls and the Jazz. Oh, shoot, one of the third snub, the Los Angeles Clippers as well. So yeah, that's 13 teams that have had a chance to get on. The Denver Nuggets, by the way, I know how good they are, trust me. I do not underrate the Nuggets. But with Jamal Murray out for a portion of the season, we don't know if he's coming back by Christmas or not, so that's not really something you want to risk with how many other exciting teams there are to put on. Yeah, I realized a few weeks ago that there would be really no lane to put the Nuggets on. There's no way that would end up happening. But yeah, it was tough to choose who I would have visiting Phoenix in the late game, if it would be Mavs Suns or Jazz Suns. I mean, hey, Dallas didn't get out of the first round. I know the Christmas Day is kind of like a player type schedule, so they do enhance it for like some players. So it was close, because even though the Jazz are easily better than the Mavs have Luka. But the Mavs did get on last year. They got their primetime slot against the Lakers last year. They got blown out. The Jazz have not been on since 2018. It's been 3 years. They had the best record in the NBA last year. I don't think it would be fair to leave off Utah. There's a chance if the Hawks get on, I really think that, there's a chance the 12 p.m. game could be Hawks at Knicks. But more likely, I would say, if the Hawks get on, it would be a 12 o'clock Sixers at Hawks. But hey, man, home court advantage is back, so I'm going to go into what I think the odds would be for those games. Okay, so odds. Bulls at the Knicks at the Garden. Knicks -2. I think that those teams probably pretty close. It's obviously really hard to make odds when you haven't seen the teams play yet. But I feel like maybe the Bulls slight better team, and the Knicks home court advantage here. Warriors and the Sixers. Philadelphia -2.5. So I feel like the Warriors are maybe the better team. I don't think the Warriors will seed higher than the 76ers. They're in the West. I don't know that they'll have the better record, but I do feel like the Warriors are the better team than the Sixers, probably. But Philadelphia -2.5. The 76ers are just so much better at home than on the road. Heat and the Bucks. Milwaukee -5. So, yeah, the Heat are really, really good, so that's why it's somewhat close. But the Bucks at home on Christmas Day, defending champs, I could definitely see them winning. Oh, another reason why that's a good matchup, it's green versus red on Christmas Day. Nets and the Lakers. Lakers -1.5. I feel like the Nets and Lakers are really evenly matched. Not a huge advantage here for the Lakers, because I don't feel like they're a team that's super home court dominant compared to some teams. Jazz and the Suns. Phoenix -2. The Jazz did edge out the Suns for the best record last year. So yeah, they're evenly matched, I feel like, especially as the regular season is concerned. That's my Christmas Day schedule, man. Wow. I can't wait to see this thing come out. I know I'm there's just so many ways that this could go. So, in fact, before you go, I'm offering up another schedule. This schedule is going to look a lot different than the other one, so like a complete shake-up here. Alright, boom, other schedule done. I just did it in about 1.5 minutes. So the other schedule I have, day game 12 o'clock p.m., Sixers visiting the Knicks at the Garden at noon. 3 o'clock p.m., the Heat going on the road to Golden State to visit Steph Curry and the Warriors at 3 on ABC. 5:30 p.m., Phoenix Suns, Milwaukee Bucks, NBA Finals rematch at Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee. 8 o'clock game, Lakers and the Nets, board taking it to Brooklyn on ABC plus ESPN. 10:30 game, we're going to do Mavs and the Clippers for this one. Back-to-back playoffs first round matchup. So that's my second one. Dang, so considering the Hawks didn't make either of these, maybe it will be tough for the Hawks to make it, considering that there's a real number of East teams they want to get on here. And the other crazy thing is I never even mentioned the Boston Celtics. Considering the depth, the reality is that the Boston Celtics won't be on Christmas this year. Comment schedule 1, the one that was my real one, or comment schedule 2, the one I just suggested. So comment which one you like better. Subscribe to talk more basketball with me in the comments. Share your thoughts. Leave a like, and appreciate you guys for watching. See